Welcome to Women in Public Safety podcast, where real life meets raw truth. I'm your host, Harriet Westmore. I'm a state parole officer dedicated to unraveling human complexities through true life cases, what we will call Case Chronicles. Join me weekly as we explore gripping narratives from the front lines of law enforcement and social services, from triumph to despair. We will uncover human resilience, vulnerability, and lastly, of course, justice. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media for the latest episodes and to join in the movement for change. Hey everybody, this is another week of Women in Public Safety podcast. Welcome. I'm Harriet Westmore, your host for the Women in Public Safety podcast. This is a podcast where we discuss triumphs and challenges for women who work in public safety, whether it's law enforcement, corrections, healthcare, fire, paramedics, and human and social services type fields. So, welcome. Hope everybody is doing well. And I wanted to talk about another Case Chronicle. This is the third installment for the month. I told everybody that I will give at least 3 Case Chronicle real life situations regarding working as a public safety professional as a woman. So this is not really a story. This is just a experience that I went through. I'm a state parole officer, for those who don't know. And one of the things that we have to do is anybody who are in these type of profession know that you have to do a yearly training. And so I just completed what we call field tactics training. Now, field tactics, for those who don't know, are tactical situations that we may encounter when we are doing our job in working in the field or working with offenders or suspects or anybody that we have to encounter. Sometimes you have to do a search, and there are different tactical ways of doing it, because the whole point of learning these type of techniques and tactics is to come home safe without anybody being hurt. But I just wanted to kind of give you my insight of some of the situations that first responders or public safety or anybody who works for the public you may encounter. We just never know what situations you're going to go into. And so they try to teach us various simulations that often occur when you go into to deal with an offender or a suspect or whatever. I had a very eye-opening experience because the scenario was what we call clear a house. You're doing a search, you're trying to go into a house to either try to arrest a suspect or do a search. And one of the things that many of us who know, people who are in law enforcement know, these offenders may have weapons in the home. And so how do you go into a house and make sure that you bring the offender out safely without any shots fired, or you serve a warrant or whatever the case may be? So a lot of times you are going into a home that has all these hidden areas, especially when you're going into like a basement. You have to be armed and have your weapon ready as you're searching a basement to look for something or looking for whatever, looking for a person or looking for an object or any weapons or anything. So this particular scenario, of course, this is all simulated. My partner and I were supposed to get this young lady out of, because she's been acting belligerent for some reason, and we just want to kind of bring her outside to us and then do a search. Well, as I came up to approach to the door, I cleared the door to kind of go in, and I called the suspect's name and everything. And my mind just went blank, because as soon as I came to the front of the door and I had my weapon drawn, she was there, but she had another person that was there, and it was a male. And the male had his weapon on her. He was taking her as hostage. And as soon as I came into view, I wasn't expecting a male or anybody else with her. So he was like holding her hostage, and he had a weapon, and he drew his weapon at me and I didn't have time to react. So these are some of the things. And so like the gist of this exercise is, what will you do because that happens all the time. You are going into a situation thinking that you're going to get one individual, but it could be several individuals in the home. And by the time I was ready to pull my trigger, it was too late. I would have gotten hurt. So these are some of the situations that the public does not, understand and realize that first responders can walk into at any time. And when you're doing a search, you want a contact person and a cover person that's covering you while you're going in. And you ideally have at least 2 or 3 people keep an eye out on the perimeter, because you just never know who's hiding behind a door, who's hiding inside a closet. Or if you're going down a basement, obviously there's always something, or somebody could be right behind under the stairs. So it's always about being vigilant, and just understand about when people are saying, well, he just pulled the trigger without even thinking. Oh, he just saw this person and pulled the trigger. It's the situation. Sometimes you can use your IPC skills, what we call interpersonal communication skills, and talk to the occupants. Or it's just that split second, you don't know that person has a weapon. By the time you look and saw, oh shoot, this person has a weapon on him, and it could be too late. Of course, we always have to debrief, but that's one of the experiences that we have to deal with. Let's take it to those who work inside the prison as a corrections officer. For in jails, you do a search. Obviously you want to bring the inmate out of his cell before you do a complete search. You don't know, obviously they have all kinds of homemade weapons and stuff, shanks, as they call them in the prison. And you may run up on, while you're searching, you may get stabbed or whatever. You just never know. And you have to be vigilant of your surroundings. And then, obviously you don't do this by yourself. You always have to have a partner or partner, and there's got to be communication between yourself and your colleagues of I will got to have one person giving the commands, because you've got all these officers giving you commands. Stand up, turn around, saying that confuses the offender. And next someone one move, and it could be over with, because they're listening to all these commands. So you designate one person to give the command, and while your partner, they just stand there, ready to take the person in and search, and then take them or whatever into custody, or whatever you need to do. Another thing was that is always common is when you do a search and you see that they had a weapon in their waistband or in their bra or whatever. The main thing was to get that weapon out of that vendor's reach, secure that weapon, and continue to search and make sure that they are in cuffs, and then put them in custody. These are things that every year we have to go through this. And in my job as a parole officer, I learned this. Fortunately for me, if it comes to that point to where I have to do a search or do an arrest, we have access to a specialized task force that does that type of thing. That's what they do. State and local and federal agencies are, they create a task force, and if I have a person that I need arrested or served on a warrant or whatever, then I can call our task force unit, and they can do that. They can get my offender in custody for me. I don't have to do that. I can be on the scene, but like I said, I'm like the everyday PO, and the task force, they're trained. They're more of the tactical. They're the ones that go in and get my guy or whatever that needs to be. The one that goes in and do searches and everything. And then then I'll know, oh, well, we got your guy, he's in custody. But I mean, it's still necessary for those who are just the everyday PO for us to know and how to do these things, because we may be called to act to assist in some way. But I just wanted to kind of give people like an overview of, and you just never know what you're going through. There's no such thing as a routine call. Not anymore. A traffic stop can be a disaster. Just a regular traffic stop. So you just never know what you're getting into, and you have to be on vigilant alert. And you can't, even when a person that you have a rapport with, you don't know, they may snap one day, and you cannot be lax at any moment. You cannot be lax. Oh, this person is okay. We deal with him all the time. That one day he may have snapped for some reason, and he may go off, and then next thing you know, it's a whole different situation that you have to deal with. So I just wanted to give my thoughts and 2 cents of things that I learned, and it was an eye-opener for me of encountering that simulation. And it just keeps you on your toes, which it's supposed to do. That's what it's designed to do. And also make you aware that you have to make that split decision. This is where a lot of the public, they don't understand that. And I'm not saying that it was unjustifiable, because a lot of it is unjustifiable, especially if you have an offender that's already in cuffs. Why are you pulling the trigger? There's no reason. He's already in secure custody. Why are you, pulling the trigger on a person that's already in secure custody? Or you have him subdued, you already have him detained, but you want to try to justify that. You don't know. That's a whole nother issue. So no, I don't condone that at all. You try to do whatever you can to avoid using deadly weapon. But at the same time, when you go into these houses, when you go into situations, especially domestic violence calls, everything is on high alert, and you have to be vigilant at all times. But at the same time, if a suspect is running away from you, and if he doesn't stop, that's another thing. Let him go. I'm not going to go chase him. First of all, we'll get him the next time. That's, we avoid, at least that's how a parole is trained. That's how we are trained. I'm not going to go chase after him. If he knows he's going to be taken in custody and he wants to take off running or whatever, and I start shooting, that's not justified. That's not a justifiable shoot, because he's running away from. He's no threat. He's running away from me. He's not running to me. He doesn't have a weapon on him. So you shooting, a person in the back. How were you going to justify that in court? And I'm not going to go chasing after him. We'll get him next time. You'll get picked up eventually. So don't put yourself in that position. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and kind of give you those scenarios, and just realize that things can go left real quick. But at the end of the day, we want everybody, including the offender, to be alive, in custody, and we want our colleagues, ourselves and our colleagues, to go home and safe at the end of the day. At least that's my goal. All right, so this is Case Chronicles number 3 for the month of April. So next week we'll begin another month, and I will talk with you next month about another episode, not necessarily a case chronicle, but perhaps another episode of something else, another topic that we can talk about. All right, you guys stay safe, and I will talk with you soon. Bye.